Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. Welcome back to another episode of CSGO News. Have a lot of videos planned for all of you this week. As always, guys, let's get right into it. And first off today, guys, in CSGO News, earlier this past weekend, I actually tweeted out a deleted tweet by Navi S1mple. If you guys didn't manage to see it, it was only up for a matter of minutes on his channel, on his Twitter that is, and it showed his actual Steam account being banned for the second time now for fraudulent activity. Now, no one is actually sure. He didn't come out with a further statement. He deleted this tweet and didn't tweet about it any further about why his Steam account had been banned for fraudulent activity. And the second time in his career, the first time he was suspected a long time ago, people thought he was actually trying to scam his fans out of knives and skins. Now it seems it's happened again, but he did play yesterday in ESL Pro League versus Fnatic as they split that series 1-1. So yes, it seems that Navi S1mple's Steam account is back to being unbanned. Again, no real talk from him as of why he was banned in the first place for fraudulent activity. It's not very easy to get banned for that kind of thing, so people very suspicious as of right now as to what Navi S1mple was doing. But as of right now, guys, he's back unbanned. And if you guys didn't know, we have now finally narrowed down our 8 final teams for the World Championships of CSGO, or the TWC finals. If you guys did not know, they start October 5th, just next week. A competition that I think actually should have a larger prize pool. It's only a $100,000 prize pool. We finally have our 8 final teams. And if you guys do not know, these teams start from all over the world, all these countries. I believe last year it was 80 plus countries. This year we had 93 plus teams competing from 93 countries. It was absolutely amazing to see that. We now have our final 8 teams, which will be Tunisia, Singapore, Argentina, and to no surprise, our last 5 teams will be Denmark, Sweden, France, Canada, and Australia, rounding out our final 8 teams there, guys. And what's more surprising, before we get to the drama of how France got back into the competition, I did want to tell you guys, Team Canada did replace Team America this year. So if any of you guys were surprised, you're going to give us our typical North American comments like, wow, American teams suck. They couldn't even get a team into the World Championships because they're such a big country. That is why, guys, Team Canada replaced Team America this year, and that's why America, being such a large country, does not have a team in this competition. So those are our final 8 teams, guys. But more importantly, guys, is how France found their way back in the top 8 teams after being eliminated by Team Kazakhstan. So here's a dramatic story about that. So yes, France was eliminated in a best of 5 by Kazakhstan in those finals for the qualifying to make those final 8 teams. They were actually beaten a best of 5, but keep in mind here, guys, we had no G2 and no envious players on Team France, and France was actually our reigning champions for the World Championship, but last year they had a couple envious players and a couple G2 players in that lineup. So this year, a far lesser and a far less superior France squad that was actually competing. So Kazakhstan actually managed to beat them in the finals for the qualifying in a best of 5 series 3-2, but the fact is, after further investigation, France was brought back in, and Team Kazakhstan was disqualified because Gambit Gaming's very own Dosia, who is not from Kazakhstan, by the way, guys, he is Russian, was playing in place of a player known as Kim in order to help his Kazakhstan team advance. If you guys do not know, 2 of his Gambit Gaming teammates, both Mew and Adren, are actually from Kazakhstan and playing on that World Championship team, and so he was standing in for Kim to actually help them advance, which is incredibly sad, guys, and obviously in direct violation of TWC because he's not from Kazakhstan. He shouldn't be playing for the Kazakhstan team, and so they were disqualified. Even worse so, more importantly, guys, the entire Kazakhstan lineup, which includes 3 Gambit Gaming players, because they did include Dosia in this actual punishment here, they received a 1-year ban from TWC, and even more importantly than this, guys, they also received a 2-year ban from all eFrag events. So yes, Gambit Gaming will not be participating in any eFrag events for the next 2 years at least. That's if they last that long. You know, many teams aren't together that long in the first place, but still a really, really big punishment there that is definitely fair. But was it worth it, Dosia? Again, like I said before, guys, a $100,000 prize pool for Team Kazakhstan, who is going to be that 8th team there, competing against 5 top teams around the world, that being France, Australia, we had Canada, also other teams as well that are probably going to outdo you, as well as Denmark and Sweden. You're probably not going to place top 5 in that final 8 anyways, so you got to think, among this $100,000 prize pool, was that possible $10,000 purse really worth Dosia's, putting his career on the line? They didn't give him any more severe punishments than this outside of eFrag, outside of TWC, so very surprised there, guys. And again, France had 0 G2 or envious players, so not a very impressive Kazakhstan lineup anyway, so I hope it was worth it. I hope he had different reasons. Maybe he just really wanted to be a great friend to Mew and Adren there, but anyway, guys, yes, Gambit Gaming repercussions have been dealt out, and Dosia will now serve a sentence alongside Mew and Adren. And speaking of Gambit Gaming, guys, they also made a roster change this past weekend as well. They have moved Spaze back to the sub role as he's been replaced by Kucher. They also announced in their article, guys, why Spaze was released. It really sounded like a bad attitude problem was the main reason why he was released and back to their sub role. He'll be replaced by Kucher, who has played with both Adren and Mew, actually as a part of Hellraisers a couple years ago. They were as a part of a team together there, and actually they've announced him not as a 5th-time official member, but they've actually announced him as a stand-in role and they said they will be announcing him as an official 5th member after a month's worth of training, and they expect to announce him in about a month's time or so, and he'll be joined, of course, by Hooch, Mew, Adren, and of course Dosia, who is banned like I told you in the last story. So that's going to be Gambit Gaming's official roster, guys. And also this past weekend, guys, if you missed it, I actually missed it too. I went back home to go to see the doctor to see what kind of illness I had my blood tested, but that's not part of the CSGO news here, guys. This past weekend, we had Gfinity Invitational, which on paper looked like a very fun tournament to watch. It was actually offered to just 4 top-tier teams, and I had a large prize pool for these top-tier teams. To put this in perspective, guys, the World Championships, like I told you in an earlier story, had 93 competing countries, narrowed down to 8 final teams. This one was only ever offered to 4 invite teams, and that was Envious, Mouse Sports, Godsend, and Epsilon was even there, and it still had just as large of a prize pool with a $100,000 prize pool, and it was actually Epsilon who snuck into this. Kind of interesting to see them here. It was Envious taking down Epsilon in round 1, and Mouse Sports very kind of surprisingly taking down Godsend in 3-1 in a best of 5. I love how the tournament setup was actually all best of 5s. You get to see who the better team really is, and again, Mouse Sports did take down Godsend 3-1. Very close maps there as well, but not near as close as the final here was, and kind of coincidentally here, it was actually Envious who swept Mouse Sports, and it looked really bad on paper as they swept them 3-0 in a best of 3, but all 3 of these matches, except for maybe map 2, which was 16-12, all 3 of them went to map point, guys, or overtime. So a very close series, very deceiving scoreline there, as Envious did take this title away from Mouse Sports. And again, really fun tournament. I wish I would have been able to watch it, guys. I actually did find out though, I do not have mono, like I told you guys if you follow me on Twitter. I do not have mono. I do have a virus though. That's why I've been so drained and so, you know, de-energized these last few weeks, guys. I need to take another week of rest before I'm back to 100%, but I am feeling a lot better, guys. So yes, Gfinity Invitational, very, very fun to watch. And I like these more smaller tournaments where there's only 4 or 8 teams there, but still a decently large prize pool. So a great tournament there. And by the way, guys, I also chose not to fix my phone because it was going to cost me $150, so I'm going to try and make it wait as long as possible. I'm using my front-facing camera, so I can't even see if you guys can see me, so I'm hoping this whole episode turns out well. Let me know, guys, if the episode looks fine. Hope this episode has been working out for you guys so far. Also, I want to show all of you, I have finally changed my setup so you guys can see. I'm going to try and hang different team jerseys up every single week. Now, I only have so many team jerseys or so many cool shirts that I want to show off, but eventually when I open a merchandise store or maybe a website and I make my own shirts, I'll also be hanging them up there as well. So of course you have Tempo Storm, I guess former Tempo Storm, of course SK Gaming, and then we also have Team YP. It's kind of funny, 2 of these 3 teams are actually non-existent anymore in CSGO, but I'm finally changing my room layout. No more blank white walls, guys, and hopefully you like it. Anyway, next story. And in today's final story, guys, we have the Philadelphia 76ers. If you guys are not from America, they're an NBA team here, an organization here, who has actually gone on and acquired not only Dignitas, but also Apex organizations. If you guys don't know Apex, they're actually a League of Legends organization. They did not make Worlds this year, I believe, or maybe I really don't know too much about League, but they've also acquired all of Dignitas' teams, which of course includes CSGO, League, Overwatch, Smite, and also Hero the Storm team. Now, I'm not going to believe ESPN's rough estimate. They released this story just today, and Philadelphia 76ers are actually supposed to announce this today, Monday morning, in an announcement. They have not announced this quite yet, but ESPN broke the story first, guys. They give us a rough estimate as well as what the buyout would be, anywhere from 5 to 15 million. They bought out the entire organization. Now, I'm not sure if that includes both Dignitas and Apex, but you guys can assume here a multi-million-dollar deal has gone down, and even more NBA teams are actually getting involved. First, we had Rick Fox, then Shaquille O'Neal, also some MLB players as well, and now, of course, we had Jonas Jerebko a few weeks ago, and now Philadelphia 76ers, guys. Everyone is trying to get their hands on an esports team. Now, 76ers have also been acquiring many minor league teams across the world, but yes, they now have acquired Dignitas. Going to be very curious to see how this new change of ownership actually affects these teams. You know, you have a lot of things that are different between the NBA, owning an NBA team and an actual esports team, and I really just want to share that story with all of you guys because I really do believe Dignitas is going to be edging that tier 1 of European teams sometime soon, especially these past few weeks. They've showed themselves as at least a top 10 team in Europe and could definitely compete with North American teams as many European teams can, and they're one of the youngest lineups in CSGO as of right now. Very underrated, and many people don't know that this team actually could have talent, especially if they come like a Virtus Pro and stick together for a long time. Again, they're all in early 20s, if not younger, so one of those younger squads that I do believe is going to be the rise of CSGO sometime soon in the future. And of course, I could be wrong, but I hope you guys all enjoyed this episode of CSGO News. I'm going to have plenty of stories for all of you guys tomorrow as well. Unfortunately, I have so many exams this week, so I will try and get an episode out tomorrow, which will be jam-packed full of great stories for all of you guys. I hope you all enjoyed this episode of CSGO News. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys all enjoy my small room tour in this episode as well. As always, guys, my name is Jake. Live, love, laugh a lot. Expect a lot of videos this week, including my Q&A and my YouTube revenue giveaway. Hope you all enjoyed. I'll see y'all next time. Remember, I like you. Goodbye.